Pelican. What if your mouth was so large that you could carry an entire bucket of water inside it? That's basically the pelican. Its enormous bill can grow to nearly 18 inches long, with a stretchy throat pouch underneath that works like a living fishing net. But here's the strange part. The pouch isn't mainly for storing food. A pelican dives or scoops through the water, traps fish and water inside its bill, then drains the water before swallowing its meal. Imagine trying to eat lunch with a giant bag attached to your face. Pelicans mainly eat fish, but some species will also grab amphibians and crustaceans. Their bills look almost ridiculously oversized, yet that strange design makes them incredibly efficient hunters. And if you think that mouth is huge, wait until you see one that looks like it belongs to a prehistoric monster. Goblin shark. What if your mouth could shoot forward several inches faster than you could react? That sounds like something from a horror movie. But the goblin shark actually does it. Living deep in the ocean, often hundreds of meters below the surface, this strange shark can reach around 12 feet long. Its jaw normally sits inside its long, flattened head, but when prey gets close, it launches forward. The jaws snap outward to grab fish, squid, and crustaceans before pulling the food back into its mouth. And those long, needle-like teeth aren't designed for crushing. They are designed for grabbing. Here's the creepy part. The goblin shark doesn't need to chase prey like a great white. Its unusual mouth allows it to ambush animals in the darkness. But what if you didn't need jaws at all? Lamprey. Look at this mouth. Would you even recognize it as a mouth? The lamprey has no traditional jaws. Instead, its mouth forms a circular suction disc lined with rows of teeth. Some lampreys attach themselves to fish and use their teeth and tongue to rasp through the skin, feeding on blood and body fluids. Sounds terrifying. But here's the surprising part. Lampreys are ancient vertebrates whose lineage goes back hundreds of millions of years. Their unusual feeding system gives scientists a glimpse into what some of the earliest vertebrate mouths may have been like. Instead of biting its prey, it basically locks onto it. But nature has an even stranger solution for catching food. Humpback whale. How can an animal weighing tens of thousands of pounds survive by eating tiny fish? Its mouth holds the answer. A humpback whale can open its enormous mouth and engulf huge amounts of water containing fish and tiny crustaceans. It then pushes the water back out through plates called baleen. The food gets trapped, while the water escapes. It's basically a giant living filter. Some humpback whales even use coordinated bubble nets, creating a wall of bubbles that trap schools of fish before they swim upward into the whale's enormous mouth. Imagine hunting by building a cage out of bubbles. But even that mouth looks normal compared with what comes next. Hagfish. What if your mouth wasn't your most disgusting feature? The hagfish might be the perfect example. This eel-like animal lives on the seafloor and has a strange mouth surrounded by sensory structures. Instead of relying on powerful jaws, it uses rows of keratin teeth to grab and tear apart dead or dying animals. But here's the bizarre trick. Hagfish can tie their bodies into knots while feeding. Why? The knot helps them create leverage when pulling pieces of flesh from a carcass. And if a predator attacks, they can release huge amounts of slime. So you have an animal with a strange mouth, a knot-tying body, and one of the weirdest defenses in the ocean. But what if a mouth could become an actual weapon? Snapping turtle. What if your mouth could hit with enough force to make predators think twice? The snapping turtle doesn't need sharp teeth. It has something else. A massive, powerful jaw. Its beak-like mouth can clamp down on prey such as fish, frogs, birds, and small mammals. Some large snapping turtles can grow to more than 2 feet long and spend much of their lives wading underwater for an opportunity to strike. Instead of chasing prey, they wait. Then, snap. The mouth closes with astonishing speed. And here's the strange part. The snapping turtle's rough, powerful beak is more important than having traditional teeth. But some animals took the opposite approach and evolved mouths filled with thousands of tiny teeth. Snail. Could you imagine having thousands of teeth and still being smaller than your hand? Some snails do. Many snails possess a rasping structure called a vula, covered with rows of microscopic teeth. They use it like a tiny conveyor belt of blades, scraping algae and other food from surfaces. And those teeth don't last forever. They can wear down. So new ones continually develop. Imagine having a mouth that constantly manufactures replacement teeth. But not every strange mouth is built for scraping. Some are built for sucking. Mosquito. What if your mouth was actually a bundle of microscopic needles? That's essentially what a mosquito has. Female mosquitoes have specialized mouthparts that pierce skin and locate tiny blood vessels. They release saliva while feeding, and that saliva helps prevent the blood from clotting. The surprising part is that the mosquito isn't simply stabbing you with one needle. Its mouthparts work together like a tiny biological toolkit. One part pierces. Another helps locate blood. Others help draw the blood upward. And you may not even notice the bite immediately. But there is another animal whose mouth is even more specialized. Because it doesn't just bite its prey. It swallows it whole. Snake. How can a snake swallow something larger than its own head? The answer is that its mouth isn't built like ours. A snake's lower jaws aren't fused together at the front in the same way human jaws are. They can spread apart and move independently, allowing the snake to gradually work prey into its mouth. This is why a snake can swallow rodents, birds, eggs, and sometimes prey much wider than its head. But here's the part people often misunderstand. The snake doesn't simply unhinge its jaw. Instead, its extremely flexible skull bones allow the mouth to stretch and move in ways our jaws simply can't. And while snakes use flexibility, one animal evolved something even more extreme. A mouth that can practically turn inside out. Star-nosed mole. What if your face could detect prey before your mouth even touched it? The star-nosed mole has one of the strangest feeding systems in nature. Its nose is surrounded by 22 fleshy tentacles containing more than 25,000 sensory receptors. These help it identify tiny prey in darkness, often in less than a quarter of a second. It hunts worms, insects, and other small animals in wet soil and underwater environments. And here's the incredible part. The star-nosed mole can identify something as food almost instantly, then get it into its mouth before most animals would even react. Its strange face isn't just weird looking. It's an evolutionary solution to a difficult problem.